Russia began World War I as an ally of England and France. The Bolshevik Revolution of 1917 installed a communist government in Moscow and St. Petersburg that agreed to peace with Germany. By late 1918, Lenin's year-old government controlled only the central part of European Russia. Armed forces calling themselves White Russians, a loose coalition of radicals, army officers, and loyalists to the assassinated Tsar, were fighting the Bolsheviks from the outlands. With Russia no longer at war, Germany moved dozens of divisions to France, and the spring 1918 German offensive advanced toward Paris. The Allies wanted to overthrow the new communist government in Russia to restore a monarchy that would renew war with Germany. Moreover, they wanted to crush the idea that workers can oust monarchs and take control of governments. This effort was championed by Great Britain's newly appointed Secretary of State for War, Winston Churchill, who wanted to, quote, strangle at birth the Bolshevik state. The Allies sent massive arms shipments to White Russian groups and encouraged neighboring nations to attack Russia. A few military forces were sent to assist, but most of the Allied military force was busy fighting in France. The British and French exerted pressure on American President Woodrow Wilson for Americans to join an attack on Moscow to oust the Bolsheviks. President Wilson agreed to dispatch 5,000 American troops to northern Russia and 8,000 troops to Siberia without seeking approval from the U.S. Congress. Bolshevik military forces had yet to arrive in distant Siberia, so that American force only repaired and protected rail lines from bandits. See the short video link below for details. The Bolsheviks were in northern Russia fighting the Whites, so combat was expected for the 5,000 American soldiers ordered there. The U.S. Army's 339th Infantry Regiment was in England expecting to deploy to France. They were chosen for this deployment because most soldiers were from Michigan, so military commanders thought they could handle extreme cold. Their training in England including a lesson from Antarctic explorer Ernest Shackleton on surviving below zero conditions. Landing at the Russian port of Archangel, just below the Arctic Circle on August 27, 1918, they nicknamed themselves the Polar Bear Expedition. The regiment consisted of 143 officers and 4,344 enlisted men, led by Colonel George E. Stewart, pictured here with his staff at Archangel. A few hundred logistical support soldiers were attached. The overall Allied commander was British, who ordered an attack southward to seize the rail hub at Kotlas. This quickly led to direct combat with the Bolshevik army. On November 11, 1918, World War I ended with an armistice. American soldiers, shown here with Russian prisoners, were shocked to learn that they were expected to keep fighting in Russia. This expedition was no longer about World War I, but crushing the idea of revolutionary workers overthrowing monarchies. However, there was no political support in Britain, France, or the United States to dispatch more forces for a major war in Russia just after World War I ended. American soldiers endured the Russian winter as the Bolsheviks launched an offensive against the American invaders in January 1919. The Americans were outnumbered 8-1 and retreated north after heavy losses defending blockhouses along the Volga River. Fighting continued as American soldiers sent letters home demanding an end to their pointless effort. This attracted attention of newspapers across the United States, and U.S. congressmen demanded President Wilson withdraw these troops. The last polar bears left Archangel on June 15, 1919. Their 9-month campaign cost them 235 men dead, while survivors suffered from cold injuries and anger. Several soldiers taken prisoner by the Bolsheviks were not released until 1920. All that remains of this pointless military invasion is an abandoned British tank, still on display at Archangel.